This is your host, Matt, joined today by Rahul and the Ganz. Rahul, how have you been?
Yeah, definitely. It's been a pretty long hiatus, but no time to get started than the playoffs. But I've been good. It's just a lot going on in life and in the world. So like all of us, we're just trying to get by. But I've been good, man.
100%, 1000%. Just a lot going on. A lot going on. Ganz, how have you been?
Good man. I could sense your excitement. Your voice raised up like a 13-year-old boy going through puberty when you said the
Thanks,
hoop
bro.
part.
Thanks, bro. Yeah,
You
no,
know,
right. I'm excited to be back. It's back in the bar, back in the hoop bar, back in the
well, I
OG.
kind of yeah, and I knew it because when I said, "Oh, I'll come in as a guest," Matt shut that down quick because he was like, "No, let's do this the right way," which
No,
is
like
which
it's
is which
like
is
it's
which
like
is
if you,
this.
yeah,
Well, are we
exactly. Like,
having a drink? Are we having, or is it too
oh,
late?
it's true. God, oh shoot. Yeah, I wish I had one.
I got
Imagine
one.
one in my hand. Yeah, doing this right. Doing this evening. There's no basketball on today. There's an NBA basketball on today. The play-in, the fight for the eighth seed in each conference is tomorrow. So it's a good thing we're recording today. As we do a little playoff preparation here. Before we get into the playoff games, I guess the last play-in games, let's do a little prediction here for this next one. So in the Western Conference, we have the New Orleans Pelicans without Zion Williamson. Unfortunately, he'll be out for at least a couple weeks with that hamstring injury. It looks that they might have beaten the Lakers, but Zion Williamson injured the last 3 minutes of the game. The Lakers pulled it out. Versus the Sacramento Kings, they lit the beam against the Golden State Warriors, whose dynasty might be over now. We can maybe talk about that a little bit later, but yeah, so it's going to be the Pelicans hosting the Sacramento Kings. Let's start off with your role. Who do you think wins that game to face the Oklahoma City Thunder?
Oh, it's got to be the Kings. I mean, you kind of pointed out something with Ingram and the fact that he was on the bench. I don't know. Maybe that gives him, maybe Gons, that's, I don't know. Maybe that gives him a little bit of a spark that he didn't get to play in that fourth quarter with McCollum struggling and Zion not being there and the game on the line. He didn't go in. And your take on that was, Matt, that, he didn't do well the last couple of games when they try to integrate him back in. But I think at this point he doesn't have a choice. So if he goes off just because he's angry, anything could happen. But the Kings are a better team. I think that they just I call him Nick Van Fox because I really like his game. He's left-handed. I just think he's gonna take his game to another level every kind of chance he gets to excel. So yeah, I'll go with the Kings.
Gons, who do you got tomorrow?
It's got to be the Kings, man. And then I'm not even like talking about Fox. I'm talking about I'm trying to load up, and I should know his name, and that's how irrelevant he is, but underrated he is. I mean, but beyond Fox, hold on, I'm pulling up. Give me a
Sabonis?
No, you
Keon
huh?
mentioned so
Ellis?
Keon Ellis. Yeah, that's who you were talking about yesterday. Is that who you're talking about, Guns?
Well, okay, Murray, phenomenal, 8 3 pointers.
Yeah, Keegan Murray did
But
crazy. Yeah.
and you have Ellis. Like, come on, 16, 17, 32, 24, and 15. But their bench is garbage. So this is what it's going to come down to. This is how my prediction. I feel like it's going to be a close game. And I think Ingram's going to step up because he has to. It's not about integrating him. With Zion Williamson out, he's going to have all the weight on his shoulders, which may free him up from the slump he's had coming back. So I predict a huge game from Ingram, but I think ultimately the Kings end up winning because they just have too much firepower.
Yeah, Keon Ellis might be one of my guys now between like Nas Reed and J Dub from Oklahoma City. Yeah, Keon Ellis, even though he shut down D'Lo earlier this season, that guy, really good point of attack defender, really good. So, and then he was hitting his threes against the Warriors. So good on Sacramento. They lit the beam one more time. So we're all going with the Pelicans, I assume. So yeah, I have Brandon Ingram. It was weird because they were playing so well, and then they had tried to integrate your second best player into the game against the Lakers. Probably wasn't their best decision, but I think he'll help them with this game because the Kings are kind of small still. I mean, he's going to get defended by who? Harrison Barnes. Good luck with that. So I'm going to have the Pelicans versus the Thunder, and then we have the other game. We have a hobbled Jimmy Butler. Looked like the Miami was going to pull that out against the Sixers, but no. Jimmy Butler was injured pretty much the last 3 quarters. They looked a little shell shocked, and now they're going to be facing the Chicago Bulls, who might not have Alex Caruso, who Andre Drummond stepped on mid court halfway through that game. So it's going to be a Caruso-less Bulls team versus a Butlerless Miami Heat team. So who's going to get sacrificed to the Boston Celtics? Gons? Who do you have in that game?
I got the Chicago Bulls all the way. I'm ride or die Chicago. I love me some Chicago Bulls. Even without Caruso, they've been playing really well. I think if you look at their last couple games,
Yeah,
they're
Kobe White's been nuts this season.
yeah.
Absolutely
And
crazy.
DeRozan's mid-range. Look, I love me some Chicago Bulls. I love me some DeRozan. I see the Bulls winning this easily. But let's talk about the Celtics. Jesus, a walk in the park. Hobbled Embiid, hurt Giannis. Like, come on, no buckets, no Jimmy. But like, God, if they don't make it to the finals, this is gonna be the worst failure ever.
They are minus 800 to get out of the East. That's insane. To bet 100, you'll win $40. No way. Like the Celtics. Oh God. All right, Rahul, who do you have winning tomorrow, the Heat or the Bulls?
I don't know, man. The Heat always do struggle without Butler because they kind of struggle to score as it is. But I just don't doubt the Heat are at home. You know, and I like Coach Spoelstra.
Oh, here we go.
Like
Filipino love.
no, I'm just saying that you know Kobe White has to go on the road in the playoff atmosphere against a pretty stingy defense. So we'll kind of see what he's made of. And I like Kobe White, right? But I think that plays a role. So I'm gonna go with Miami. I wish Butler was healthy so they can give Boston at least one series because Gons, next series is Cleveland or Orlando. It's ridiculous. But yeah, I'll go with the Heat.
Oh yeah, I want to pick the Heat, but down the stretch they were playing Haywood Highsmith and Jaime Jaquez. I don't know what happened to is Terry Rozier hurt? I don't even know. So
No,
the fact
he's
that Bam
playing.
Adebayo wasn't doing very much either, I think I'll agree with the Gons and go with the Bulls. Even with that, Alex Caruso, Kobe White, I think he had like 30, 35 last game. As much as I wanted to be the Heat too, I want to agree with the rule, but without Jimmy Buckets, without Jimmy Butler, that Heat team just looks kind of lifeless, and Bam Adebayo is not going to be the guy. So yeah, I'll agree with you.
Yeah, it would be a fail for DeRozan if he doesn't pull this off. Like he should carry this win. Like if he wants to be a marquee, player, then he has to get his team in the playoffs.
Oh, 1000%. I want DeRozan versus the Celtics. Get 2 games. Come on, DeRozan, you could do it. Yeah. We believe in you, Damari. We believe you like the Guns believes in you. Go DeRozan, you could do it. Get 2 games. That's all we ask.
Compton pride.
That's right. Okay, let's move on to the actual playoffs. Let's just start off with our main event, our personal main event. We all know it. It's the Nuggets versus the Lakers. The Denver Nuggets, the number 2 seed, versus the Los Angeles Lakers, the 7th seed, who climbed up. It looks like the Lakers are going to be 10th. If you listen to the last Basketball is Religion pod, I was pretty much accepting they're going to be in the 9-10 game.
Against what I said. Let's just bring that up.
No, you're right. You're right. The Gons was correct on that pod. I thought they were resigned, but then it looks like the Pelicans had something for the Suns. They had something for the Kings. And they had something for the Warriors. So luckily the Pelicans pulled through, beat those 3 teams, then the Lakers catapulted to the 8th seed and then beat the Pelicans to get the 7th seed. With this game, we're going to be talking about more so the first 2 games of the series as opposed to looking at the series as a whole. Because I think the first 2 games are going to really set the precedent, because if you really think the Denver Nuggets are going to win the first 2 games, the Lakers really have a shot to beat them 4 out of 5 times, 4 out of 6 times. I don't know, 4 out of 5 times, I should say. I don't know about that. So I guess let's start off with the Gons, Nuggets, Lakers, first 2 games. Do you see the Lakers pulling an upset the first 2 games?
It's not an upset. It's not an upset.
Really? Explain, Gons.
Listen, okay. I think it's better to play them in the beginning. 1, because we're fresher, we're not beaten down. 2nd, if you look at LeBron last series, he was done again because he'd played so many series. He had like a broken foot, or he had issues with the offense that he can create. If you look back last year, he wasn't full LeBron, and I don't think everyone realizes what full LeBron in the playoffs is when he's healthy. I think everyone's going off their last 8 matchups. Sure, some of it was regular season, but was LeBron really playing like playoff LeBron? And if you look at the playoff series when he was limited because of his foot, was he really agile and able to do what he could really do? I really believe in this Laker team, and I think it's going to be 1-1 split after the first 2 games.
Or do you agree with the Gons? The 1-1 split going back to LA for game 3?
I do. I think the Lakers take the first game. I mean, they have to take one of two, but I agree with the Gons in that it's going to be a lot closer this year. Even though those 4 games last year were close, like they just felt like, they could have gone. It was a sweep, right? Last year, I don't. No one wants to remember it, but
Oh yeah, it was a sweep last year.
it was a
People
sweep.
say it was a close sweep, but it was a sweep nonetheless.
And it was a sweep, but again, it felt, I mean, I mean, again, everyone's doing some gamesmanship right now, right? You got Anthony Davis and LeBron saying we want the smoke, whatever, blah, blah, blah. You got Joker saying, oh, even, they were the toughest matchup we had, even though it was a sweep, right? So gamesmanship. But I think, yeah, the Lakers have to take it. I think you're right, Gons. I think LeBron wasn't 100%. But we have better supporting casts that are playing a little bit better right now at the right time.
Oh yeah.
Austin Reeves, we talked about, I know we didn't do much podcast this year, but we talked about him taking a role into, bringing the ball up more often. And his handles have gotten better. I haven't watched the whole year, but when I watched the last few games, it looks better. I'm not saying it's going to be a difference maker, but I trust him more. I think that we got to watch out for KCP. He kills us. We got to watch out for Aaron Gordon, not and just the boards, things like that. Clean that up. But yeah, I don't. I'm not. No one. Again, no one scares me. But I'll sign off with one. If Alvarado is running around on us, like all point guards run around on us, and he did, then that's what worries me. Is that we Murray cannot dictate the whole game. Like you want to let him go off, then protect the others, or you know trap him and make somebody else make plays. So you got to pick and choose.
Okay, so last year I believe there was a lot of issue with that pick and roll defense with Jokic and Jamal Murray just absolutely destroying the Lakers. Like, if you're the Lakers, Gons, how would you defend Nikola Jokic this particular series? Are you looking to maybe double team him a little bit, or just kind of leave him one on one with either Rui or LeBron, or with AD? Like, how would you defend
Look,
the most likely MVP?
again, you have I would say a healthier AD maybe than last year. I think AD before he gets beaten up and always had issues with his eyes. I have full confidence. Um, I would play AD on him. And with that being said, our young rookie, he was a very athletic, can help out. Is it I don't want to say his name wrong.
Oh, the Lakers other big man or the
Yeah,
rookie?
yeah, what's his name?
Oh, Jackson Hayes?
He's
Jackson Hayes.
not. Yeah, he's from the Pelicans. But yeah,
Okay.
he's a good
He's
he's a
very
good matchup.
athletic, and very physical. And I think he's going to be the key here in helping control Joker. I'm not worried about Jamal Murray's speed as much as someone like Alvarado. It's just because I think ever since his injury, he's slowed down a little bit. I'm not worried about the cheating family because if I'm the Lakers, I'm just going to talk about how his brother's a cheater and get in his head. Not worried about Aaron Gordon. I think we've seen him enough to know that he just sits at that corner three or he cuts in for lobs. We've seen them so many times. What I am worried about is Darvin Ham being an idiot of a coach and not picking up on the things that I'm picking up on, honestly. But I'm not worried about it. I'm worried about Ham. Maybe they should lock Ham out, put him in a closet and self-coach. I don't know.
You gotta store some ham in the refrigerator.
Yeah.
Rahul, what do you think about Jokic? How would you defend him? Or do you agree with Gons 101? Send some doubles. What are your thoughts there?
I think Hayes is great or he's a great body out there, right? He's lanky, he can block shots, but he's going to get dominated in the paint just because of how slender he is compared to Joker. But I agree, you could put him out there to the length and the size along with AD out there just to block. As soon as they get the ball to him at that 15-foot, he's going to make a play. He's going to pass it at KCP. That's when you got to just if you're going to trap him, get some bigs on him. But I think the difference maker for us this year that we didn't have last year is Rui. I'm excited to see how Rui pans out in how are they going to defend Rui? Is Aaron Gordon going to go out and guard Rui? Is Joker sometimes going to be on Rui? Rui's, I think, a matchup problem. And I think he can help on defense as well with his length. So I don't know, man. You're right, Gons. The tone I get from you and from Matt, I don't know how you feel, but even though we feel like we should fear them because they've beaten us 9 in a row or whatever it is, we don't. And I don't know if it's arrogance or if it's just looking at this matchup and knowing who we have on our side and just thinking, we could do this. So yeah, I'm in the same boat.
One last thing I want to touch on this series, at least for the first two games. We saw LeBron James take a charge from Zion Williamson, and he did not look the same after he took that charge from a runaway freight train, honestly. And then Anthony Davis is going through those back spasms he got from Larry Nance push the last game of the season. Plus, Ganz did mention the eye stuff. So does the health of AD and has 3 days to rest that back, and how LeBron is, we don't know how he is. Does their health, is that a concern for you, Gons?
No, this is bull. This is like soap operas. Every team is saying we're not ready and we're not 100% healthy, and we're all questionable. Kawhi Leonard's questionable. LeBron's questionable. AD, every game, everyone's questionable. This is all a gimmick to throw off the other coaching staff. LeBron and AD are going to be ready to go.
Do you believe it's a ploy role, or is there concern on your end?
I mean, it's the playoffs. We played what, 82 games. You have AD's played 76 or something, his highest since like 2015. So yeah, you're concerned that he's played a lot and you don't know what that means, but that's why I rather have the Nuggets first, because playoff basketball is that next level of intensity. So if you want to face them in the Western Conference, that means you've got to go through 8 or 9 or more games. Well, 8, I guess 8 game, no more. Yeah, it could be more, where you're maxing these guys out in playoff level intensity. So I'm not worried in that, they'll get some rest and we'll get the Nuggets first. So I'm kind of excited about that. I just want them to be ready for the elevation. It always seems like you give a game away just because of the elevation. Like Darvin Ham, let's get everybody running and let them know that, hey, if we could just sustain our stamina that first game, we are skilled enough to pull it off. But hopefully that's not an issue.
I wasn't going to bring this up, but now that you did, the Lakers practice back in LA today, and today's Thursday. Tomorrow's Friday. They're not leaving till tomorrow, so they're not really giving themselves an extra day to get used to that elevation. Is that concerning to you? Should they have left yesterday to start practicing in Denver today and tomorrow?
Yeah, I mean, look, we're human bodies. Like you don't want to play this as a factor. It's facts. You're gonna get impacted by a change of elevation. You could be an all-star athlete, world athlete, but you're not used to that environment. I think they should have given themselves a day, a run out, a practice in that elevation, at least get their lungs used to that. But I mean, again, it would have been nice, but it shouldn't be the reason they lose.
Gons, is that any concern to you now that knowing that they didn't leave or not going to leave until tomorrow for the game, or is that not going to nothing for you?
They've played plenty of series in Denver. They're all veterans here. It's not their first rodeo in Denver, so no, not worried about it at all.
Okay, so I think we're all in agreement that's going to be 1-1 going back to LA at least. At least, as Laker fans, we hope that's going to happen. I guess before we move on to the next series, Denver is favored by 7.5 points in game one. Gons, are you going to be putting that bet out now, or going to wait till it goes down to 7? What are you looking at there, Gons?
Since I'm going to do a fun. I'm not going to bet the spread. I'm going to do the money line. I honestly believe the Lakers will win. I even think they may win 2. If they do win 2, I think they'll give up 2. So I'm very confident Lakers will win. I think it's worth putting down $20 to win 60 or 70, whatever the spread is. So, yeah, I'll probably make that bet tomorrow morning.
Rahul, are you in on with the Gons on that one? Money line. I don't have the odds in front of me. I can see where it's closer to a 150, 160 odds. Bet 100
yeah.
win $160.
Yeah, I'm in. I think the Lakers take game 1. So I'm in.
Interesting. I think they take game 2, but that's just me. Let's move on to the Clippers and the Dallas Mavericks. Probably, other than the Lakers and the Nuggets, probably the next best series moving forward in the playoffs. So we have, is Kawhi healthy? Like, that's the main thing. And when I talk to other Clipper fans, when you talk to Vahid, is Kawhi healthy? Right now he's listed as questionable going into game 1. Gons, when we talked about this in the past, you had the Clippers in 7. Now with Kawhi possibly missing the first game, if he is questionable and he's not going to be 100%, he missed the last 8 regular season games. Gons, are you still picking Clippers in 7? Or I guess let's keep with the theme here. Do the Clippers capture, or how do you think the Clippers will do the first 2 games of this?
At first, I wasn't concerned. I thought they were just resting him prior to the playoffs. But they gave him an injection in his knee for all the inflammation. So that, now I'm a little concerned. He's questionable for now. as of Saturday or for Sunday. I do think he'll play, and I think he'll play out of his mind. I don't know if he's going to be able to go every game this series, and that's definitely going to be a challenge. But I am still a believer of what I said. I do in the beginning of when Kyrie came to Dallas. I don't think that they're a great fit together. And because of that, ultimately, I think the big player here is Raul's favorite, James Harden. And I'll tell you why real quick, because there's no pressure on him. He's never been in a situation where he's the third option. So I think he's going to do really, really well this series. And it's because he has no pressure on him. And I do think the Clippers are going to win in 7, possibly 6, even with Kawhi's injury.
So
They're
it is
stacked.
in
They're
LA,
stacked.
Gons. Do you think it's a 2-0 going back to Dallas, or
Well,
do you think they drop one of these two?
my gut is telling me they're up 2-0.
All right, Rahul. Do you agree with the Gons 2-0, or are you worried about Kawhi's injury? I mean, it is in LA. Do the Mavs pick up one of the first 2 games?
It's in LA. Well, first of all, I do think the Mavs are going to be a different team in the playoffs versus the regular season because I think they spend too much time being ISO, and I'm a firm believer that ISO basketball, just as Kobe Bryant once said to James Harden's game, it doesn't necessarily work in the playoffs. And Kobe saying that, I mean that in Kobe's ISO are a lot different than what James Harden and Luka's ISOs are, right? Kobe's ISOs were on the block. Luka and Kyrie are spending a lot of time dribbling. So I'll stop there. Clippers, I think will win one. I think it will be a split though, just because the uncertainty with Kawhi. With Westbrook, he's having a career year as far as turnovers. He's only averaging 2. I was checking. That's amazing for Westbrook, right? He averages 3 or 4. I think he's at 2.2. That's because his usage is down. So if Kawhi is out, his usage is up. So how does he respond? I would be worried a little bit about that. I think Harden, you're right, Gons. Last time Harden shot really well, he was the third. So he's actually a career 34% 3-point shooter in the playoffs. The last 2 years, he's going around 38. He's getting better in the playoffs. And the last time he shot really good, not 38%, but 37% in the playoffs was when he was the third member of that OKC team in 2012. So yes, less pressure, better. He's been getting better the last 2 years in the playoffs. So he could have a really great playoffs. And the Clippers, I still take the Clippers in 7. And that's just because I agree with the Gons. I just don't like the ISO ball that they do. They do so much of that ISO ball in Dallas here.
I mean, with PJ Washington, Tim Hardaway Jr., Josh Green, Dante Exum, Daniel Gafford. I mean,
yeah,
those guys are going to be the one to have to hit shots. Like, because you have Kyrie on the other end, are you looking for Paul George to single cover Luka? Like we kind of mentioned this earlier with Jokic, Gons. Do you single cover Luka, or do you try to send doubles at him to try to make, maybe at that point you maybe have a Westbrook or a Terrence Mann guard Kyrie one-on-one? Do you try to get the ball out of Luka's hands with double teams, or do you kind of just try to single him? How would you approach Luka Doncic?
I don't double team Luka. He plays too slow for me to double team. It'll be awkward. The way he plays is you can't double team him. But it's all on those help defenders and those other defenders to be aware, because Luka is very dangerous in regard to passing the ball and moving the ball once he gets going. So it's not so much on Paul George guarding Luka. I'm confident Paul George could stay in front of Luka. Luka's going to make some difficult shots, but it's on everyone else because Luka is so good at seeing everyone else move. So it's on everyone else to play good defense. And I'm confident with like the Terrence Manns and the Norman Powells and everyone. The reason the Clippers are so stacked that they'll be able to play that defense. So again, I see Luka having a lot of points, but I see him taking a lot of shots. I don't know with the formula if that's going to be really great. The X factor is Kyrie. If Kyrie goes off a couple games, which he will, if Kyrie gets a 40-piece, Dallas wins. But I don't think he's going to get a 40-piece more than 2 games, which is why I think the Clippers win in 6.
Burl, do you agree? Try to just let Luka go one-on-one, or do you try to send doubles at him and try to have Kyrie and the other guys beat you?
I think depending on how much Kawhi is missing, you don't want to put George too much on Luka. You've got other people for Luka that you can use up energy for, like a Westbrook, like a Terrence Mann. But yeah, I would let him go ISO. I think you give him his points. Kyrie's more of a threat as a playmaker and as somebody who gets more people involved than Luka is. So I think you play to that. You let Luka have his fun and have his games and go off. You control Kyrie's playmaking abilities. You defend the glass against Gafford, and I think they do all right. But yeah, Kawhi being out, I think they still can pull it off without him. But I'm worried about the only thing I'm worried about is Westbrook behaving or Harden behaving in their kind of ways, which is turnovers and a lot of missed shots, or they could go the other way. So that's what to look out for, I think.
So I believe you both had a split going back to Dallas. I think it's going to be a hold. All the home teams going to win the first 4 games of the series. It is going to go 7. I think that with Kawhi out, I think it really just depends on his health. Like it's crazy because I want to have some more better outlook at it, but it's really just depends on his health. I don't agree with your rule that they could beat the Mavericks without Kawhi, because he's that important for them offensively. So ultimately, I'm going to go with the Mavs in 7 if we're going to go that far. But at least for the first 2 games, I kind of see I can see the Clippers capturing these first 2 games. Let's move on to the next series. Another actually a very interesting series. You have the Minnesota Timberwolves, the 3 seed, versus the Phoenix Suns, the 6 seed. The Phoenix Suns, who are looking to be maybe a top 3 seed, have fallen to the 6. Might be the most disappointing team in the league other than the Lakers. The Suns had won by 19 the last game of the season when both these teams played in Minnesota, and both teams are actually trying. So it is going to be in Minnesota. Let's start off with a roll. Who do you think takes the first 2 games of this series?
It's in Minnesota. I'm gonna go with 2-0. I want to go with Minnesota. I don't have a lot of faith in playoff Suns. Very similar to, I'm gonna keep it short. I think very similar to what I said about the Mavs, and both of those guys like to play a lot of ISO ball. Again, that stuff in the playoffs is just it's difficult. And I think the Timberwolves are young, and Edwards is just not afraid. He's not afraid of the moment. So I'll go with 2-0.
Wait, so you're picking Minnesota to win the first 2 games of the series. Ganz, do you agree with the rule? Is Minnesota winning the first 2 games, or can the Suns get 1 or 2?
I'm gonna agree with him. Well, at the end of the day, Minnesota has too much defense, and they're young, and what you have on the other side is a bunch of vets that can score. I mean, Booker's lost a little, I think, off his step. Can still go off here and there. Durant's slowed down, and then again on the other side, you got a bunch of young, athletic, defensive playing stars that can also score. So, I mean, I hate to say this is a garbage matchup. I'm not even gonna watch this.
Really?
Garbage.
Not Anthony.
I have
See,
no interest in this series at all. 0%. It's
wow.
yeah,
Kevin
Phoenix,
Durant,
Minnesota.
Anthony Edwards, no, nothing.
Not anymore.
Wow.
Nothing for Durant. And like maybe it's the cities they're in. I don't know. Am I being discriminated? Maybe. I don't know. I look at this matchup. I'm like, oh, this is the one I'm missing. So let's go play in the park. Dylan.
There you go. I mean, with your kid, he's running around. Got to toddle. Make sure.
I don't know. This series just seems non-exciting to me. Like out of
Anthony Edwards is potentially the best. Like the.
Is it the Gobert factor? Is it maybe Gobert?
See, that's the thing. That was going to be my. I think the Suns get one game, if not 2 games this year. I kind of disagree with you guys. Like Anthony Edwards, he has to be the best U.S. born player eventually, right? Like it's him and Tatum, and he hasn't shown he can make the leap to be a superstar yet. Is this a series we see him do it? He had 13 points in that last game against the Suns, and they were trying to get the number 2, number 1 seed, and they lost by 19. That has to count for something. And the Suns, you mentioned Gobert rule, like Gobert, when was the last time he did well in the playoffs? If anything, the Suns go 5 out small ball, pull him out of the paint, and then what are you left with? You're left with Karl Anthony Towns trying to defend and Gobert trying to defend the perimeter. It's gonna be tough for them. So I see the Suns winning the first 2, at least 1, if not both games.
Wow.
I'm gonna disagree with you.
Let me ask you guys a question. Out of all the games Saturday, if you had to pick one not to watch, which one are you not watching?
If that one's on Saturday, I'm not watching Minnesota and Phoenix.
There you go.
Really?
There you go. Matt, you had to pick one not to watch.
Magic versus the Cavs.
Oh, sorry. Okay, yeah. Sorry, that one.
I'm not watching either of those. Garbage.
Yeah,
either
of those.
Yeah. Let's be real. Even as NBA fanatics, garbage. No ratings. No one's gonna watch those. Nobody.
I mean, I would watch the tail end of that series.
Oh yeah, fourth
Like,
quarter, different story. I throw on the
no,
fourth
I mean,
quarter.
yeah, for sure, fourth quarters of all the games. But really, I'm interested in like games 5, 6, and 7 of that series if it goes that far.
Now,
If it goes that far.
if you go to Sunday,
And sorry, really quick, I think they go up. I know we're not talking about farther than 2-0, but I'm not worried. I think the Phoenix Suns win 2 and home and tie it up 2-2 as well. I think that's just as easy. Go ahead, Gun.
oh no, I mean I'm good. I just wanted to make that point that it's garbage.
For sure. Let's run through these Eastern Conference final because they're not as interesting, I don't think. So Knicks versus Sixers. Ganz, who do you have there winning the first 2 games? It's going to be in New York, and Embiid is injured. We saw that during that game.
Knicks, 100% Knicks.
Rahul, who do you got? Knicks or Sixers first 2 games?
Is Embiid out the first 2
Embiid's
games?
not out, but he is not close. He's maybe 50-60%. He did
He
not
still
play.
did.
I'm
He
surprised
still
they
had
even
a hell
won.
of. He had a hell of a fourth quarter.
He's 70%. He's a
He had
70.
a, he
Yeah,
still
I
pulled
mean,
up.
plus Embiid wasn't a great playoff performer anyways. Now he's 70% of what his
Oh,
normal
so
thing
much
could be.
Embiid hate. Oh my
There's
goodness.
there's so many good guys on that team. Are we really thinking Brunson's gonna?
On the Sixers?
Yeah, I think so. I think they still got.
Are you talking
Okay,
about
let's go.
the
Kelly
old-
Oubre,
old
Tobias
white guy
Harris,
that's playing the
Max,
Clippers?
Tobias
Maxey.
Harris.
Do you like the Anthony Melton?
Buddy Hield,
Buddy
Melton.
Hield?
Those are solid players.
Buddy
Kyle
Hield.
Lowry?
Buddy Hield?
He's 30. He's older than me.
Oh,
I know.
man.
I don't
think
know,
Raul has a
man.
soft spot for Toronto, so I think that's why it's Kyle Lowry.
Yeah, no, the
Maybe.
Sixers. I mean, Tobias Harris is making like $45 million, and Kelly Oubre is out playing him. He's making minimum. So,
Well,
Batum.
okay, yeah.
They got Batum. Don't forget about Batum.
Hey,
Okay.
so you laugh, but he made 6 3-pointers. See, these guys like these, like they know what they're doing. Like
yeah, but you're depending on that. Like, no way you're depending on that, especially with OG Anunoby on the other side. She's shutting down anything that Oubre, anything that Tobias Harris has for him. They're
Look,
20-3 with OG in the lineup. So
all right,
the Knicks are sweeping the series, I think.
I think
Okay,
it goes
all right.
6. Knicks.
All right, I'll go 2-0 Knicks. You guys convinced me. Let's go next.
Yeah, let's move on. Cavs versus Magic. Is anyone watching the series? Should we even predict the series?
No, move on.
All right, the next one's more interesting. The Bucks versus the Pacers. There is bad blood here. The IST semifinals, when Halliburton had his breakout, that 60-point ball thing with Giannis trying to get the ball from the Pacers, but the Pacers are 4-1 against the Bucks this season. The Bucks have just been terrible with Doc Rivers as coach. Ganz, who do you have first 2 games? It's in Milwaukee of the series.
This series interests the shit out of me. I'm watching this one, and I got Indiana, and it's going to be the demise of Doc Rivers.
Finally.
Yeah, done. And I love Doc Rivers, but
you love Doc Rivers.
I do. I like the guy.
He's got history with him. He's got history with him.
Look. I like the guy. I do. I really do like the guy. But he's done. This is it. Indiana's too good. Dame can't carry this team by himself. He can carry Portland by himself. So what's gonna happen? Nothing.
Earl, do you agree? Is it going to be 2-0 Pacers going back to Indiana?
I think Halliburton goes off. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, Halliburton.
I think the Bucks are just waiting to fall apart. I think once they lose one game at home, and they're at home, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I know Dame Lillard's on that team, but I think something's off. Like since Doc Rivers, there's no chemistry, and when there's no chemistry and you have a playoff loss, I don't know. I think they're candidate.
It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be TMZ.
That's one of those where like it's gonna catch everybody off guard. Like, how are the Pacers up 2-0? But I think you're right. I think that's gonna happen.
Yeah, I kind of have to agree there. That Bucks backcourt defensively, even with Patrick Beverly, it's just trash. Dame time is hitting midnight. Unfortunately, we love Dame, but it's just kind of over from there. So before we end the first playoff preview pod, we'll start with you. Just give me a finals pick, who over who. I'm going to regret saying mine, but Rahul, who do you have just before the playoffs start?
Oh man,
you have 20 seconds.
Okay, I got the Celtics on the other side, unfortunately, which hurts to say. I had the Clippers. I'd mentioned that, but now with Kawhi's injury, I can't really say that. So I'm gonna go with the Lakers, and that's not a homer pick. They have a really good team.
Do the Lakers beat the Celtics?
I don't want to talk about that right now.
Okay, Ganz, who do you got? Finals pick. First pod back. Get 20 seconds.
I hate the Celtics, but it has to be the Celtics or I'll be so happy if it's not, but it's the Celtics for the East. And for the West, I'm sticking by the Clippers. Clippers Celtics in the finals.
Who do you have winning?
I'm taking the Clippers.
Clip show. First title for the new arena.
Right before the new arena. Yeah.
Exactly.
It's all staged, brother.
Oh God.
That's how it was
I
written. That's what Indians say. It
know.
was written that way.
Sorry,
Dollars.
guys. It's gonna be the Celtics are beating the Denver Nuggets. I hate to say it. I really do. I know, Raul, you want to say it, but I'll say it for you. The Celtics are gonna win this one this year. I hate that. I have to be objective that they're gonna win it. So, all right, guys, we'll do this again next week. Preview the first couple games, going games 3 and 4. We'll see you guys next week.
Okay.
Bye.
Later.